Alright, well that's enough goofing around. What are we doing? What's our quest log say? I don't think we're on any, like, tight time frames here. Let me see if I can reorient myself. Here we go. I haven't played this since we finished, because there wasn't any need to. Oh yeah. So we aren't on any kind of hard timers. Let's just head outward. How's our weight doing? We're kind of full right now. Maybe I should sell some stuff before heading out. How's it going, Circadian Wolf?
Is there something you need?
I hope well. Yeah, so we collected a bunch of blue sand. We have enough blue sand to make the final piece of the blue sand armor, but I don't think we have quite enough gold right now. It shouldn't be a problem, though, because I think we're going to go, like, clear another bandit camp out or something. We should be able to be just fine. Hi, Lilithan. Thank you so much for joining us. I was looking at graphics card prices today, and they seem to be, at least the AMD cards, seem to be coming down quite precipitously. Yeah, I think that's counter turns. You've jogged my memory. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the, try to do the Fortress today. Dwarf Fortress would be too much. I got really into Dwarf Fortress for like 6 months or a year, enough to like generate a bunch of stories that I still remember. But yeah, that's a steep learning curve. You got to have a lot of bandwidth, I think, to navigate that one. Ooh, the supply cache. Okay, the supply caches have not regenerated. I think it's like a week for the overworld to basically respawn. I know, weird to see my face too. I rarely look at it. We've only got mirrors in a few strategic places. Lilithan, is that true, or are you pulling my chain about the dwarves having unions now? I mean, that's wild. Oh my goodness. That's good. So yeah, I'm not going to Vindevel Fortress right now. I'm actually going to kind of the other bandit camp. And the reason why is there's I think that kind of there's a lieutenant in here who drops a brutal halberd, and we're kind of using halberds right now. So that's going to be an upgrade for us. And he also drops a key, and with the key you can get into that tower, and there's an ornate chest there, which is like a, how do you describe it? So like regular chests use like a certain loot table, and I guess ornate chests use like a higher level loot table, so you can get some nice stuff there. This is a trap that'll kill you if you come here too early. It's just a pressure plate trap. It's on both sides of the bridge on the right side if you're heading towards the fortress. So be on the lookout. They added loot tables to chests? Yes, I need to enunciate, our friend. I'm live. I can't just be mumbling here. Yes. Chests. There's a big controversy with chests right now. I guess that world champion, that Magnus fellow, is just refusing to battle someone else. Oh no! I'm reading Counter Turns' comment here for the VOD, and I'm seeing that Counter Turns wasn't able to loot the halberd off the bandit captain, which is a bummer. It's a huge bummer. These guys shouldn't be too much of a problem for us. This hyena might be one of the tougher things here, to be honest. That was our moon swipe. We don't do, like, bonus damage with the moon swipe right now. Moon swipe gets better when you have boons that are active. And we'll work on, maybe towards the tail end of this session, we can get some boons, get like a barbarian rage or something along those lines. I think Circadian Wolf, that's correct. That is the chess controversy. I'm not going to worry too much about looting the stuff on the way up to the Bandit Lieutenant. Where we don't have a lot of weight allowance to play with right now. Yeah! Yeah, you can get by, because of the way stability works, which I was talking about this last session, you're really incentivized to wail. You know? Because if you relent, they very quickly get their stability bar back. And once they're at half stability, your strikes can interrupt their own attacks. Garrulous Monolith, I think people cheat at a bunch of stuff. It's like the first thing that happens. So this is pretty cool, and I really was hoping to be able to open this by the time we kind of got here. We're probably going to come back because there's like the highest capacity backpack in the game is behind this door, and you need 2 power coils to open it. And there's not that many uses for power coils, so it's kind of like if you can just pick up a couple, which is not, it's not super hard to do. They're pretty common. We would be able to get our big old backpack. It's 100% worth coming back for. Ice. Ice powers. Do these camps respawn? Yes, it's a matter of days. I think the dungeons respawn at a different rate of the overworld, but I can't remember. But yes, I think even chests respawn. But it's like a week or something. It's quite a while. So if you want to grind, you can 100% just like go back to Sierzo. I think for towns to respawn, you can't like sleep in the town to get the town to respawn. You have to like go outside and rest. And I think vice versa. I think you have to be away from that region and have time pass while you're away from it in order to get that to work. Something along those lines. We've made some fire rags. Let's increase our impact resistance. We're getting all kinds of little symbols down there. I think that Garrulus, I think the cheating that is being contemplated. I'm not even going to say accusation, but I guess they're idle accusations of cheating. I think the deal is the idea that somehow this person was able to consult a like an artificial intelligence or like some kind of computer. Ah, this is the worst. Let's let him swing. He'll do like maybe a 3 per hit combo. Ah! I think I've got it. There we go. Folks in the chat talking about chess and computers. So is it the case that like there are no competitive human players against AI? Like nobody's figured out how to game it? Because I know with Go, there's still like I know that AI has defeated a human player in Go, but there's still like potentially some weak points that the AI might have, something along those lines. Like you might be able to exploit certain weirdnesses. I'm not sure. Ooh, Steel Saber, that's like 72 silver. This is all really good stuff. That is true, with respect to the difference between chess and Go. All right, well, we more or less cleared the camp. I think that there are a couple of other jokers like around here, but we got what we came for. We got a weapon upgrade. Can't complain about that. Might just like pick up some stuff until our bag gets overweight, yeah, so we can sell it. But no, we will have to come back for that backpack. It's too good not to get. There are other backpacks that have special properties, like there are backpacks that food spoils more slowly in them, that have some niche uses. There are backpacks that let you roll while you have them on, which is great. But I have found that backpacks with just very large capacities are the best because you get to loot the most stuff. And as we were kind of talking about last session, just accumulating stuff so that you can sell them to turn the stuff into silver and then turn that silver into character improvements. That's kind of the name of the game until you more or less reach a plateau, and then there's not much else to do other than the DLC or finish the game. So it'll be interesting to see how many sessions this will be. I think we're gonna, I'm planning on streaming till 8 or so this evening. But I'm relatively well familiar with the game, but we are gonna do a main quest that I haven't necessarily done yet. Yeah, I like the for the polearms especially. I like putting the weapon on your shoulder. That's fun. Anybody off tomorrow? I'm not off tomorrow. I've gotta have a real regular Friday thing. Not the worst thing in the world, but tomorrow's Friday. It's just some people have a Friday off. They might have an alternate work schedule. They might just be taking it off. I think Friday might be the most commonly taken off day. Ah, DB Monster, I'm glad that you were able to get this. Does it run well on the PS5? Ah, vaccine boosters, that's good. My wife has been able to snag the most recent booster launch. I have not been able to get that yet, but I should. I'll get it this weekend, maybe. Nice. Nice, DB Monster. I like the little cloth. Little wrap on the brutal halberd. I mean, it is kind of in the business area of the halberd. It's actually kind of interesting. Maybe that's what makes it a halberd, right? That it's only sharp on the end there, because otherwise it's kind of just a sword. That's interesting.
What can I do?
High intercontinental ballistic moose.
All right.
I think I'm hanging on to the Fang halberd. I think I'm going to hang on to the predator bones as well. But I am going to sell as much as possible so that we can hopefully afford our blue helmet. Yeah, 60. Oh, interesting. I wonder what the deal there is, because I do remember those selling for upwards of 70. It might be a faction quest thing. I think that's it. I think that when you start a main quest, you get better prices from the merchants in that town. I believe that might be the case. I believe that might be the case. Great. Okay.
What can I
Craft
do
me
for you?
something.
Here's what
I need 250 silver.
What was that?
He gets angry. I don't know if you heard that bark, but if you try to commission a piece of armor you can't afford, he gets a little out of pocket, I would say. There we go.
What can I do? Here's what I need.
What was that?
Bye.
Come back to me later. Great. We'll have a full blue sand set. We're going to be running slow. The set's really good. Unfortunately, they all have negative movement speed modifiers, which is just the price we're willing to pay to not die. It might be detail work. That's what I assume. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with the appearance and kind of just the visuals of the game. I think it communicates everything pretty efficiently. Circadian Wolf, I think you have... I don't know how long we're going to be carrying around the Brutal Halberd, to be honest. But I think it has a very interesting visual look. But your point stands about kind of the design, just from a practical perspective. But yeah, I think we'll be pretty good. We could probably There's a part of me, I think I might want to go upgrade the weapon just real quick, because we can do that in Berg and maybe unlock a little ability. And it'll give us a chance to kind of see other parts of this region.
What can I do for you? All right.
There we go. Oh, wow. The helm actually really pulls it together, I think. Looking pretty spiffy here. We are very slow now, but looking cool. Okay, so I believe I already have the quest to do this little merchant thing, but I've played this game enough that...
Thank you for your
Perfect. Played this game enough that I have, like, probably on 3 or 4 playthroughs, gone all the way to Berg and then forgot just to, like, get the fetch quest before doing so.
Greetings, friend.
There are guns in this game. That's kind of a thing. The heroic city of the Levant, it seems like in the lore, specializes in the manufacture of firearms.
Greetings, friend.
Let's see. We've got plenty of travel rations, I believe. Got 5 right now. All right, let's go to the Emriker Forest, which will be like a little bit of a hike, but it should be like a fun. You can be a gun specialist. The problem with the guns is they're all single shot, so you have to take a shot and they're very, very high damage. Like even that pistol, I think our halberd does 28 damage. That pistol is like 50 damage, but it requires like a load action basically, which I think is here. Yeah, so like fire reload, and it takes a while. So it's certainly interesting. And if you specialize in it, I guess it's much better because you can like get them to have abilities and whatnot. So it's interesting, Lilith asking if you can wield multiple pistols. Not simultaneously. They're offhand only if they're pistols. However, if you specialize in pistols, you probably have multiple pistols so that you can load them all and have them in your belt, and then like fire one, get out the next one, fire the other one. That is definitely a phenomena. But, and this is one of the reasons that I went with two-handed, like, halberd, is that I wanted it to make it easy on myself to, like, switch between things. And if you have a sword and a shield and you want to, like, switch to a bow, that's 3 of your hotkeys that you need to have locked down, right? You need to switch to the bow, it'll automatically unequip the other 2, etc. You do get skills that work with guns. They're good. Yes, yeah, and I believe that's the Heroic Kingdom of the Levant. It's like the mercenary subclass. He's got some great abilities that everybody would be interested in, but he has, there's like, the top one's like Blood Bullet, and it's one of the few kind of lifesteal effects in the game, I believe, which is pretty cool. Reapy Soul, yeah, welcome. Thanks for chiming in. It isn't realistic to have a bunch of weapons in quick slots. That's not a... That's maybe not a historically accurate or future accurate. Oh, you're not even talking about realism. You're talking about like just feasibility. Just feasibility. No, it's true. Right now, I only have Moon Swipe and Kick on my combat bar, but once I head to Berg, I might end up having like a lot more. Now I'm going to keep my eye open for more chests and whatnot. And some bandits on the road. They pose no threat to me. Are y'all getting this this high fantasy kind of stirring musical score? I've got it pretty low in the mix, but you might be hearing some of it. It's very inspirational. Makes you think you could do anything. Oh, I think I might run over here. Counter turns, I've got to say, I do think it's a bit on the nose to create a desert kingdom called Levant. Doesn't seem very creative to me. Seems like it really opens the game up to a space that maybe isn't wholly necessary. But you know. The game has its faults, and I would say that naming the Desert Kingdom the Levant is certainly one of them. We got a gem. No gem. Welcome, the Calcul Attack. I think I know some of your other AKAs as well. There's a long list. So this is actually really interesting. Oh, I'm actually thinking something. So this guy is the Friendly Immaculate, I believe. Yeah. And normally these entities are like some of the most dangerous enemies in the game. There is one that is friendly. And the first time that you meet him in this cave and talk to him, he'll give you the option of like offering you some form of aid. And if you turn down the aid, in each of the caves he appears in, because he has a cave in each region, I think he gives you a special weapon. So I think I can say, can you help me? I'm fine. You probably need your survival gear. More. And I have to do this before. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lilithfin. I sometimes I just looked right to the text instead of the content. But yeah, I have to visit the Immaculate in the 4 regions before joining the Holy Mission. Because the Holy Mission, once you like swear yourself to serve a lot, all Immaculates, including the Friendly Immaculate, is they become hostile. Like he cannot stand your presence. So friendly up to a point, but deeply ideological, or maybe just joining a lot and like becoming aligned with living thought. Might have like it might be affecting the Scourge, which Immaculates are members of the Scourge. It might be affecting him on like a subconscious level. So hard to know. But anyway, wanted to visit him. Enjoy your evening, Circadian Wolf. Let's see. What's next? Oh yeah, I'm just going to keep a look. I think that there is another chest looking for power coils. Would love to find 2 before I tackle the Bandit Fortress. If I had like that big capacity backpack, I could easily do that. Reapy Soul, I agree. You can pick up a lot of lore doing all the quest lines. I also think one of my favorite things about the game is the amount of lore you just never get when you don't pick a quest line. Like if you do this game only, like if you play through once and do the Blue Chamber Collective, You will not find out. Like they give you very, very little information about like what a lot is. So I really like that. I like the different perspectives, and it does kind of lend itself towards playing the game, I think. I think this is where the corpse is of just somebody. A worker. Yeah, so what are we headed? So we're heading to Emricker Forest, which is here. So we're just gonna go right past, let's see, the Vigil Pylon, which is here. That's a Ghost Pass, I believe, which is a pretty cool place to go to. But we want to have a bunch of gold when we go through the Gold Pass, because we want to train at the Wind Cabal guy. Oh my gosh, is there some kind of alert that was sent to both of us counter turns? I just looked, I don't think so. I don't think it was like a weather alert or something. Deus Ex Brachina, thanks for joining us, and don't worry, you didn't miss too much. We killed a bandit, and we took the bandit's, gosh, what is it called again? Cleaver Halberd. It's interesting, because I think the coding, like people on the wiki have noted that this says Cleaver Halberd, but it's really like a brutal weapon. There's an entire class of weapons that kind of have the brutal prefix. And the Cleaver Halberd's the only one that has a unique name. And maybe it's because that bandit boss had it. Hard to know. Sun's going down, getting dark here in Outward. Wow, Nextlander raiding with a party of 406. That's so many people. Welcome. Greetings. We're playing Outward. Oh yeah, I think we were nice to our buddy Yazan Argenson, and as parting words, he tells us, "Hey, the shipwrecked. One of the ships had my strongbox on it, and he told me the secret to his strongbox." So I think I can redeem that here, if I haven't already been here. I can't remember. We're getting outward this evening. Search the panels. And he gives you a clue. I think he says the stars follow the moon. So if you do moon and stars. It's not much. It's just a few silver and some stuff. But the Gabbery wine will actually come in handy. So I'm going to hold on to that. What is the Cleaver Halberd weapon speed? It's 0.9. It is a little slower. The Fang Halberd's way... Oh, the Fang Halberd might just be strictly better. It's like a few... Yeah, I think I'm going to switch back to the Fang Halberd. I didn't realize that it was that fast. Correct. Cameron insulted Yazan. And I suppose I'd have to think about the monetary value of what was in his chest. But here's the thing. If you've played the game before and he gives you the clue, you can insult him, mug him, take his like 50 silver or whatever, and then still open his box because you know the secret of the box. So, bummer for Yazan. There's a bit of a difference on impact, Medium Dragon. It is less, but the Fang Halberd has bleed. So there's that. Oh, you've watched a big chunk of Too Much Future. I think that to use a Too Much Future, is this character this character might be a Tonk type character. I don't think this character is a Lucky Nell type character. Yeah, this is definitely a Tonk. I can't remember, did Tonk specialize, have like a little bit of explosives maybe? Or maybe that was just kind of like a last last tool in the bag when things were going bad. Is Outward satire? Outward's the most genuine, earnest game in my Steam library, probably. I don't think it's quote unquote satire. I think I could Skyrim up here. Yeah. Show me a power coil. My shrooms are rotting. Yeah, those were shrooms that I picked up like way back. This is the most finicky. There we go. No, got some bandages, but no power, not even a single power coil yet, which is a bummer. The status of war in Outward. So right now, there is no war going on in the plot of the game. But war will inevitably break out. I don't believe that it is avoidable. Does Death Stranding not let you Skyrim places? I think if I have not played Death Stranding, it's definitely on my list, but if I designed it, I think a part of me would be really tempted to like systematize Skyrimming up a mountain, like have like some special boots that let you Skyrim up. Oh, it like actively Death Stranding actively clowns on you for attempting to Skyrim. I think people have used the term walking simulator to talk about Outward, and I guess I think that there are other ways to describe it. But I enjoy walking around, and like this is like a misty evening that we're in. We can see some like weird particle effects over there. Oh, there is no war in Outward. Not yet. It's interesting. So I know that in some of the maybe DLC main quests that you can opt into, so like instead of the default 3, I think you can join the Sorobians and get like a different perspective on the war. Yeah, I think it's a little easier to make yourself faster in Morrowind. In this one, the ingredients to like make potions to make yourself go faster are a little, it's like a tiny bit harder to come by, in my experience. Power coil? No, but we got bullets. Yeah, and Morrowind has like actual fast travel. This has fast travel, but you need to be willing to spend 200 silver to get to Harmattan, and then you got to spend 200 silver to leave, so it's a bit prohibitive. There are, I think it's the Master Tradesman Boots has a bonus to speed. in this game, but you have to find them from a traveling caravan salesman, and they will only carry that item if they are like out in the overworld and not in the main town or whatnot. So I think that's kind of interesting. This buck is fighting something. It's actually like so dark I can't see clearly what it's fighting. It looks like the buck is fighting like a bunch of bandits and just kicking the bandits' butts. Oh, it's running away now, though. I don't blame you for making yourself faster in Morrowind, Deus Ex. You gotta spend your time the way you want to spend it. And I suppose there are things I could do to like make this character faster. I could like unequip some of this armor. However, the armor is pretty heavy. It's like 29 all in. Oh, I'm cold. Oh, wow. It's now officially cold enough that I need to start worrying about the weather. I don't have the right tea to cure the common cold. It reduces my stamina regeneration. Oh, that's interesting. Winter's coming, y'all. No, you get... We were not cold very long. Had I drank the tea earlier, I could have avoided this, but hard to say. It's a very dark night. My backpack must smell terrible with all of these mushrooms rotting in it. Yeah, unfortunately, the blue sand armor set does not help your cold defense. It actually, the only thing it does is it makes you less protected in the extreme heat. Like, it just boils you. So we won't be... if we do need to go to the desert, we will have to unequip at least our chest piece. The nighttime's dark, especially in a place where there's not a bunch of like street lights and whatnot. Yeah, big fan of the lantern wiggle. I don't think it's physics. I do think it is like an animation, but that's maybe an example of something that you don't have to have. Oh, it's definitely like a different wiggle. When I'm just like walking forward and initiate the walk with the weapon drawn, and then it starts wiggling different. That's really interesting. Those are like annihilation monsters. And I don't, you know, I don't have a problem with them right now. This guy's mean. That's an immaculate that is not friendly. Garrulous Monolith, I agree with you. I, too, am ready for more cold. So this this lever, you can pull it, and it sets off a big old explosion. And there's a like a terrible, horrific beast down here. And you can loot its kind of stuff now. So it has horror chitin and predator bones. Carrying a lot of stuff, actually. But this is pretty wild, huh? You think God just like, you think a lot just like threw down like a giant glowing energy spear? Maybe. Okay, so I have my horror chitin. I really just want to get out of here. I'm not sure. I just want to get... So does anybody in chat know like what the quickest way out of here is? Because I just jumped down to get the loot. I've forgotten. Oh, here's the elevator. Ah, there we go. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Okay. Oh, no! Yeah, they hit really hard. Oh, no. I thought that was going to close the other way. Need to get my stamina back a tiny bit. Aha. I'm coughing. I'm Oh, I've got to get more water. Oof, okay. Well, we know the way out, which is important. And we killed 2 of these horror things. And we got more horror chitin. I'll regenerate some health and whatnot here. And I think with this horror chitin, oh no, here he comes. Dangerous in here. Oh, Intrepid Vector, I'm glad you had a fun time. That was a really great event. And Chip and Ironicus were fantastic guests, and the way that they pitched the charity made me feel like I was a guest on their charity stream. They were doing a great job. Oh, I'm subscribed to their channel. I check it every morning to see whether Zork's up. Don't bother me, little annihilations. Oh, they were thinking about having a VTuber persona at play. Oh wow, this bandit has decided to pick a fight with the Annihilations. Who am I to deny them? Need to get down from here. I guess in the future I can like recalibrate and maybe try to prioritize playing this game while it's, you know, daylight out in the overworld, but it's important for everybody to get a feel for what the game looks like at night. I think it looks great. What would my VTuber Sona be? It'd probably be like a little Balthazar, like a little half-orc barbarian with a big old oversized, kind of Viking type helmet with 2 horns. That would be fun. I've seen people have little goblins and such as VTuber Sona. VTuber Sone. My stamina regeneration's really been tanked by the decision to wear heavy armor and having a cold, just having the sniffles. And unfortunately, I gotta just find, gotta make some tea to remedy that. I think if I pick through enough gabberry bushes, I'll find the correct beetle to make the tea that I need in order to not have the cold anymore. But even then, it doesn't cure the cold instantaneously. You'll just be on the mend. Ooh. This is like a like some kind of golem. It's like a mechanical dog. No stamina right now. And unfortunately, I can't get it back and parry. The cold's really doing me in here. I think I'm just gonna have to leave. Oh no. I don't know, like, what my way out of this is going to be. Because, like, I can't save up enough stamina to actually, like, swing at it. And I'm too slow to, like, get away. I guess the fact that I picked the halberd that does bleed damage also isn't helping me. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna die here. This is, yeah, the cold's too rough. I could have won that fight without a cold. I'm fairly certain. But just a huge stamina deficit. Oh, good. This actually works really well, because we needed to come talk to this person anyway. It is very dark. Can you help me? You're cool. Thank you. It really is what happens when you go to work sick. I think that is 100% right. Also, I didn't have very many buffs on that, like increased stamina regeneration. Which had I had a couple, I could have like counteracted the cold. But now, after we've been knocked out, gosh, no power coil. It's because I switched to Linux. Now that I'm on Linux, they won't let me. They won't let me have a power coil. This is the benefit of the face cam. As you can see, my disappointment is not performative. It's very real. Let's see. Blue sand boots, 214, 218. Oh, yeah. But I'm getting greedy here. Damn. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about the NVIDIA drivers. It's just code for getting good RNG and RPGs. Let's see. I may set up camp here. And just get back this burnt stamina and the burnt health. I need to buy a new tent, which I can do that in Berg, actually. They sell, like, some pretty nice ones. They sell one, actually, that helps you... gives you a lot of, like, frost resistance and such during... when it's cold. Speaking of which, like, you can tell that it gets colder at night here. Because you get that little frost thing. But I think this should be okay. 6% never happens. 94% chance to not be ambushed. Whoa, Reapy Soul, I did not know that. I did not know that the plant tents refill your food and water there. I guess it makes sense. I mean, yeah. They weigh nothing, but you can't reuse them. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. My max stamina decreases 3 times faster. Oh, I need to get some water. I think there's a well right here. Maybe. There we go. I'm once again cold. Protect against the cold. Don't let me get sick. Okay, let's look here. So I need to go north from here. Yeah, so back where I came. I might get a second chance at the golem dog, which if I have maybe full, I mean, it's gonna be, it'd be a tough fight. It'd be a tough fight, but I could kind of improve my weapon somehow. I could add maybe a like a fire rag to the equation. That might help a little bit. And certainly not wielding the Fang Halberd. The bleed wasn't really doing me anything there. Sometimes, like, I forget, so different defeat scenarios are what they're called when you get knocked out. different defeat scenarios have different like times that you are out. And you can kind of know, like if you happen to know what day you're on, which we're 12 in-game days into this experience. If you happen to know how long, you can kind of like look and be like, oh, it's been less than a day. So in some situations, you can be defeated and then go back to where you died, and then find out that your enemy's still hurt from your previous fight. So pretty interesting. Let's refill this lantern. Cool. No, it's true. That's the easiest way to cure the common cold, actually, is dying. Yeah. Okay. I don't think this is going to work. I think we are going to run while we have some stamina here. Oh, wow. Ash Giant out here? He's just going to chase me forever, isn't he? I might get this Ash Giant to, like, fight him. Or is the Ash Giant just going to fight me? I think the Ash Giant's going to fight him, yeah. We're really banking on this now. There we go. Yes! I can't believe this has worked. This guy's great. I think he's angry at me now. Which, I suppose, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty rude to, like, train a, like, dog golem into somebody. All I want is to loot the dog golem, my dude. We can both go on our business after I do that. Thank you. And this is why we were really hoping on power coils, because of how over encumbered I am right now. It's a bummer. Is this not the, they're not gonna let me? Might have to go up this hill. Oh wow. Now this Ash Giant is gonna kill half the zone. That's hilarious. Now he's fighting a bunch of bandits of some kind. Cool. That's gaming. Yeah, Ash Giants are no joke. Oh wow, the Ash Giant killed this. Oh my goodness. He's on a tear. It reminds me a lot of EverQuest, actually, like the West Common Lands. You just like go to this area directly outside the town into the newbie zone, and there'd be a level 35, like a couple of level 35 griffin spawns. I don't think they were sure things. I think they had like placeholder spawns that were level appropriate. But, you know, as kind of time passed and as people killed like little fire beetles and other things, like there was a chance that a griffin could spawn, and there was that you couldn't like do the stuff you wanted to as a newbie in that zone while the Griffin was up and about. So kind of you really depended on your friends, your acquaintances in the zone to help you out. Yeah. No, and to some extent, I think Outward is pretty good at communicating how dangerous an enemy is by their design. It's the Blue Chamber Collective questline has you doing some diplomacy with the Ash Giants. No power coils. None. Not a single one. That's probably like, what, 7 chests, 8 chests I've looked in? And they're the correct type of chest. It's like the fancy steampunk chest. It's very unlucky. I am being denied the backpack. They're making me... They're really going to try to tempt me into buying like a nicer one in Berg, is I think what is slowly happening here, but we shall see. Got a bunch of stuff we can sell. Let's see, so the blue plate, I lose out on 4% physical resistance, and blue plate gives me 20 ethereal resistance. I think I just sell the blue plate. The elite plate boots are pretty cool. The Ash Giant might have all the power coils. You kill the Ash Giant, he's just got 70 on him. More power coils than anybody could even carry. Oh, goodness. Long, stamina-starved trip back here. But we're going to have plenty of gold, and there are a couple of trainers, and we're actually, like, interested in both of these trainers here in Berg. Because we did get mana, so we could get, like, a couple of runes and maybe a lexicon while we're here. We won't need several of kind of the rune combinations, but one, I think, just buffs your physical resistance, and that would be really helpful, actually, for doing Vendavel Fortress, I think. I wonder if this merchant's selling. Sometimes they sell, like, a power coil.
Worries me.
No. Venture boots. Yeah. So, Tur, or Toure, selling Enrage, so I could get the Enrage boon, which is pretty cool. But yeah, let's sell stuff and see what kind of, what's our monetary situation here. Yeah, or I was thinking, I forget how long the buff lasts, Reapy Soul, but I was thinking about, like, just switching to the lexicon, doing the physical, like, the rune armor, and then going back to the halberd.
Listen.
It's a little bit wasteful, but I could see it working. I'm holding on to one Gabbery wine. Ooh, I need some occult remains. I think that's what I need. Because I think I have enough kind of stuff here. I've got palladium scrap, 2 horror chitons, and I think if I had occult remains, I could turn my Fang halberd. Yeah. And the occult remains, I'm pretty sure, don't have the map pulled up, but like the insect hives, you can get a bunch of them all. Yeah, in Imriker here. So I'll get the... Let me spend, like, some silver.
How can I help you?
Let's see, I believe it's Des Egoth. I'll need to buy a lexicon. So yeah, that guy back there, he's the Rune Sage trainer, and the Rune Sage, like Rune Sagery, the way it works is you learn these individual runes, and when you cast them, it just kind of appears in front of you, and a little symbol appears in your buff area, when you combine them in certain orders, different effects happen, but you have to have a book in front of you. Ostensibly, the book is just so that you know, like, you remember them, because I guess you can't memorize them. Yeah. Does take up half a pound, but that shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Let's see how this works. There it is. That's a 67% damage absorption, I'm pretty sure, as if I'm reading that correctly. Vaguely, have I seen or played Kenshi? I have not.
Want to buy
Would I be interested in something like that, you reckon? Very unforgiving. Is it a third-person action-y RPG similar to this? Or is it?
Hey there.
I might be interested in something like that. I'll give it a look. Okay. I am going to check this caravaner for the occult remains. I don't think I see any here. Okay. Let's just go. Let's go grab some. Oh, I love like recruiting and community building and like town building. That's some of my favorites. That's like I like Ni no Kuni. I like the Suikoden's and Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud's really good. I'm actually playing kind of throughout this week. I've been playing Dragon Quest XI. Oh, wow. Maybe Kenshi. There's a little bit of Kenshi in Outward. Some kind of inspiration. That's interesting. Where is this stuff? Okay. So I gotta go down, down. Okay. Yeah, all my actions cost, what, 14% more endurance? So it's not the kind of build that lets you sprint around, unfortunately. This rune armor is sticking around a while, which is great. Definitely what I'm hoping for. Looks like I might only get like 1 or 2 casts with it, though. Unless I get sleep deprived. Let's see, I think I can, yeah. I like the little particle effect that the rune armor gives me. Okay, there it is. Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad to hear it was worth revisiting. I've been really enjoying it. I know it's not breaking any new ground, certainly, but sometimes I just want a particular itch scratched that only a very old school insensibility JRPG can provide. I'm gonna stop noting the absence of the power coils now. Like, it's not even news. I'll let you know when I find one. Lord. You know, Lilifan, I don't know. I don't know what the drop rate is for the power coils at all. But I know I've been cheated. I certainly know that. Let's see, that's a river. And that's the Vigil pylon. Oh, perfect. So I just need to, like, I went a little bit too far east. Oh, thank you for the compliments on the hat. My wife will be very happy. She got this hat for our anniversary. So it's very special to me, and it's sentimental, and it's also gives me a lot of like gaming energy. Well, they, I thought that the, I guess you're making a Bitcoin reference, but I do know that cryptocurrency, one of the reasons why these graphics cards I've been noting they're going down, the prices are going down, is I guess there was like a merge recently, or some kind of like, maybe with Ethereum or something, like some development happened that made mining less profitable, which that sounds great to me. Oh, a gravel beetle. I think that's the impact resistance T. Same, Lilifan. I'm against it. Ooh, palladium. I actually might have the necessary components for both the horror halberd and the beast golem halberd. I think that there's also, because I think that requires like palladium spikes, and it might even require the cleaver I'm using. I think it might be one of those, or I can't remember. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, I want that, Reapy Soul. I want the hard carry. What's the easiest? Aren't these occult remains just hanging around? Do I have to fight like a bug? I thought that you could just kind of find them. I don't want to be in here. That looks awful. Not without my horror halberd. Ah. Ah, the Burning Man. Okay. So that would be even further west from here. Okay. Well, so I guess to think out loud a bit, what I'm thinking is once we get the horror halberd, we can pop back into Berg, do some selling, which we'll probably need to do, and then maybe buy like Rage the ability, because that'll help out our moon swipe. It'll make us way stronger just in melee combat. And then we can do Vindeville Fortress, which was on the list, and I feel like if we don't do the thing that we said we were gonna do, this playthrough is gonna it's gonna stretch on quite some time. So let's actually do what we said we were gonna do. I'm blowing up. Okay. Aha! Burning entities like fire elementals. Oh, they're not fire elementals. They're burning people. This is like a zombie or something. It's exploding on me. Burning Man. Oh. I'm on fire. I need water. 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 Ah, there we go. Oh, that's interesting, Reapy Soul. A burning person is it's about as close to a fire elemental as one can come, like aspirationally. I hope I didn't just shatter anybody's dreams. But that's my understanding. I'm sorry. Sorry to be the messenger on that one. Ooh, gotta repair my mining pick. That's top priority. Mana restoring. Set a man on fire and he'll be warm for a day. Build a man on fire. He'll be warm the rest of his life. I guess if we're building a man, this is like a sorcerer, some kind of evil sorcerer would do that, it sounds like. Need to make some meat stew next time I head to town. There we go. Oh, no occult remains yet, though. I wonder if the drop rate might be a little lower. The permanent stamina damage is very real. Yeah, it's more than I remember it being, but the last time I did this kind of build, I didn't get any mana. It was like purely physical, so I did sacrifice a little bit of stamina to like get my mana. Oh no, I'm gonna burn to death! Oof. I died. Wow, I was feeling really strong. Oh no, where did I end up? The Vigil Pylon. And I've got some kind of awful... I'm cursed for 227 seconds. Oh, it's true, Lilifin. I was goaded into getting just a couple. What did I end up doing? I ended up getting the curse is to be just covered in insects. That's curse enough. I'm trying to think what kind of our solution here is. Let's try the occult remains. Yeah, I wanted 2. That being said, I might even need to get a maybe I can get like the Kazite Spellblade breakthrough ability. It's not the best breakthrough ability, but it would get me 15 points of health, stamina, and mana, which might actually get me to like 2 casts of rune armor. Because, like, that's the thing about mana is unless you're sleep deprived or you have some other way to, like, get rid of the mana burn that you get from resting, your capacity is really, like, half of what it says it is, like, in a lot of the times. I love these little, like, 2-dimensional bugs. I'm cursed. Ooh, that's right, and the Speedster has 25 stamina the same way that the Kazite Spellblade has the 25 health one. Uh-huh. That might be the way. Gonna have to navigate the desert in this heavy armor, but that's probably doable. Just, like, sell as much as possible, take the armor off, sprint for it, eat some cactus along the way. It's probably doable. What does this curse do again? Decay damage and resistance. It's probably really bad for fighting bugs. I bet they do a lot of decay damage. Kind of didn't need the... Assuming going Hunter for Rage and Discipline, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll have a lot more health soon. We're just kind of still in that awkward early game period. Oh yeah, I think that a lot of the defeat scenarios are quite nightmarish. Yeah, still not a lot of money right now. Would love to get this horror halberd. That'd be a real boon. Would really help us out. Alright, occult remains. If the games is as stingy with occult remains as it has been power coils, we're in a world of hurt. Truly. Ah, I just can't fight anything because of the low stamina. It's really bad. I've got hive infestation now. Here we go. The viewing experience here as we fight in the dead of night has to be great for y'all. Got him. How many occult remains do I need? So it's Fang Halberd, Palladium, occult remains, horror chitin. I think that's it. I don't think I need more than one. Oh yeah, this is going to be a substantial upgrade. Let's just get out of here. What new bug disease I have? So my old bug disease is gone, and the new bug disease is the hive infestation. And the way that you cure the hive infestation is actually poisoning yourself. That's the that's really bad. So yeah, health and stamina burn rate is doubled. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to sprint, and we can see how quickly this burns as I sprint. Actually, not as bad. There it goes a little bit. Yeah, so you kind of, it's a two-part cure. One, you poison yourself. Two, you need an antidote on hand to cure the poison. Oh, food waste will do it, huh? I thought food waste gave you indigestion and not poison. I didn't know you could poison yourself. I guess, I mean, it's food poisoning, certainly. But I didn't know if it was poison. All right. Oh no, did I accidentally sell my Fang Halberd? I'll have to make a new Fang Halberd. I do have enough Predator bones, but I did not intend to sell the Fang Halberd when I was in town. It's a real key to the city moment here. Oh yeah, and I could easily buy it back. But they'll really extract the maximum amount of silver from me. Yeah, I doubt the town has reset at this point. I once again have a cold. I really need to start paying attention to weather. I have to start carrying around a torch when I'm just exploring. Or just buy some good tea. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I do forget that we're at the stage now where it's like significantly colder, like in the dead of night, compared to the day. So I think that is the solution. And yeah, being rained on probably did not help my... Actually, it was the rain that dropped the temperature enough to, like, actually make my body temperature drop. So, it's exactly as my mom told me when I was a child. She's like, you're going to catch a cold if you go out there in the rain at night and fight, like, bug goblins. And you know what? Outward proving her correct. Okay. Lord. Prescient mom. That's right. I've got so many diseases now, it's going to be easier to just die. That's what I was actually just thinking. Oh, 50 silver versus buying a 25. I think it is slightly cheaper for me to do this. I believe that's it. Yeah. The Horror Halberd. Inflicts extreme poison. Oh, it's like some real Burning Crusades aesthetic here. The halberd, it's only got one eye. Oh, it's got two eyes. The other eye's down here. So it can see both ways. I'm so encumbered. This is my speed now. Let's sell a bunch of stuff.
Hey there.
Might keep the weather defense potions, because that's starting to be an issue. Yeah, if only I could just nick myself with the Horror Halberd to cure my hive infestation. That would be pretty ideal for me right now. Let's see, I forget... I forget how to make the Beast Golem Halberd, but I think that the Horror Halberd should be way better. I think you, let's see, Beast Golem scraps, Palladium spikes. Yeah, could somebody in chat remind me what the ingredients for the Beast Golem Halberd is? This Beast Golem Halberd, I forget whether it's Palladium spikes and Palladium. Yeah, I think the Horror Halberd's just gonna be better. Oh, but the durability is what gets you. Interesting. Beast Golem scraps. Oh, I would need another Beast Golem scraps here. Iron Halberd and Palladium spikes. Okay. So I'll keep the Palladium spikes and one Beast Golem scrap, just in case I want to make that extra halberd. Okay, getting a little bit of money here. That's not bad. I think this merchant might actually be selling some more beast scraps. I wonder how expensive that is. I like how you can get really just far too hot standing next to the,
This worries me.
maybe the Dreamer Halberd? Dreamer Halberd's pretty good. Because it's, that's like a half ethereal damage. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with halberds.
Hey there.
Oh, but I bought his iron halberd. I bought his iron halberd to make my fang halberd instead of buying my fang halberd back. That's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. That's my weight. Do I just spend the money to get a better backpack so that I'm not constantly... I was trying to avoid this by just collecting 2 power coils. Could have avoided all of this. Let's see, so I think my build will be the Wind Cabal guy. Just so that I can actually show off some amount of, like, interesting mana usage. But I haven't spent any other breakthrough points yet. I think I'm going to avoid spending some on... I think I'm going to avoid spending money on upgrading, like, bow fighting for now. Durability is not awful at 300. It's not, like, the worst thing in the world. Oh, yeah, that's right. Discipline only buffs physical damage. Okay. Well, let's... Oh my gosh! They're waiting for me! I'm going to see if I can pull a solid snake here. Solid snaked successfully. Oh, and I need to check my rations, actually. I might have to go back to Berg to just buy a couple. Or kill a being. Or collect some kind of food to make a... thing. Is Zell a Final Fantasy character of some kind? Is that why you miss Zell? Hunter Lionheart? Yeah, I've only got 2. Okay. Oh. Well, I'm sorry. I think that Cameron more or less... how close was... The one with jorts, right? The bejorted one. How hard are these guys when I'm double diseased? Lord. And he's extreme poison. He just died. Oh my lord. We're the baddie now. That antidote is going to come in handy when I finally figure out a way to poison myself. Ah, the bejorted one. The Final Fantasy VIII streams were good, and I think that over the next couple of weeks, Cameron's going to be putting the VODs up there onto YouTube, and the VODs for this will go up to YouTube, I guess, after he's finished with Final Fantasy VIII. So I'll have a little bit of runway to, like, clean up these video files. Well, in the Bandits' defense, we were attacking each other, so... That being said, no, if I were the Bandits, I would have simply ran away from the man, and that looks like a... This helmet actually reminds me of, like, PUBG a little bit. Just the full face helmet. This guy's got a tier 3 helmet. Let's try to mug him. No. My halberd's sentient. Oh yeah, that's probably the loot angle. They wanted that helmet, that's correct. Well, this probably makes for a slightly better viewer experience when we're walking long distances. Just the fact that it's daylight out. Oh yeah, they thought they could make like some hard rhetoric checks to just get the halberd to go limp in my hands. Or even turn against me. You know, I don't miss a lot of things about, like, and when I use the word miss, I'm using it very intentionally. I don't miss a lot of things about the Baldur's Gate series, mainly because we like played them for show in a completionist fashion. But I do miss intelligent, sentient weapons talking to you. I think that's great. I think more games need to have that. I think the newest Modern Warfare would probably be at least 20% better if the campaign featured sentient weapons talking to you. I guess that the Rick and Morty game has done this, at least from the footage I've seen. I don't want it implemented it that way. I want it implemented. I want it written like Baldur's Gate, like kind of serious, high fantasy. Exactly, Deus Ex Machina. Oh no, you're right. That's the thing, is you can't really you can't really make any statement like amending, oh, Modern Warfare, but the core is pretty rotten. We do have some silver. That's almost enough for some really good upgrades. I need to find a way to get poisoned. Oh, the easiest way is probably a troglodyte, right? Or to make a vial of poison and... I think, to be honest, I think every time I've gotten the hive infestation disease, I've just died. I think that's how it's gone away. Which is unfortunate. How bad is this? Stamina regen, negative 15%. Oh no, that's cold. Crab eye seeds. That's right. They're everywhere, actually. There's even some in Scherzo. Okay, I'm gonna keep an eye out for those. I think there might be crab eye seeds in the Chersonese. Oh no. Now I have an acute cold and severe hive infestation. Lord. I'm barely hanging on at this point. Just keeping an eye out for like a... And it's wild that in order to get better, I am going to have to poison myself. Like, this is how bad it is right now. Can I get a defeat thing from the very bad cold? I don't think so. I know that you can be defeated 0 health, hitting the extremes on temperature, hitting the extremes on thirst or hunger, like going all the way down. Not filling up. You can't die from eating too much food, to my knowledge. But yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, I think you can struggle on with the cold, but I really do need to... Yeah, I think infection does eventually get you that way. I think this is crab-eye seeds. Now, do I have to boil this to make this poisonous? When grilled is the... Okay, so I will grill this. I do still have that antidote, right? Yes, okay. I can just eat it right now. I do have 2. Excellent. Antidote. Okay. Time to take medicine, which is just poison, yep. Unfortunate. Let's maybe we can make some, like, travel rations by catching a couple of fish here. I do need to refill my water also. And then we can sleep through the night here. Which I believe is, yep, it's 8 o'clock. Is your hive infection cured? So the hive infection is improving, which is what that little green arrow says. So it's basically, it will take some amount of hours in order for it to, like, fully go away. So let's set up camp and then wake up, hopefully not hive infected. Maybe I can even make some... I've got a couple of ingredients for making tea. The ochre spice beetle, seaweed. Let's see. They sell us poison, so we'll buy their cures. Actual poison. What kind of tea is this? This protects against the cold, but it does not cure colds. Must be like the gravel beetle that cures the cold. I can't remember. There's like 4 big types of tea. I haven't quite remembered them all. Okay, so maybe we'll keep this lit. It's going to be a real balance, trying not to overheat or get too cold on this rest, but we will... I forgot to buy a tent in Berg. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and there's a lot of stuff you can forget. The purple tea cures the cold. Oh, that's seaweed. But I don't think I have, like, a beach that has seaweed proper. Oh, no, there is seaweed. Here we go. Clutch. Clutch. Oh, do I have seaweed? I already had seaweed on me. I am soggy now. You gotta be careful. Okay. Oh, nice. I caught, like, some bonus seaweed. Okay. Soothing tea. Cures the common cold. Okay. Let's see, am I going to overheat when I just try to sleep like this? I am. Okay. How about this? How about I extinguish? And am I going to freeze when I do this? Okay. Lord. Having to, this is one thing you always do when you're camping. You stand next to the campfire and get, like, just, you get so hot you almost pass out. And then you're like, okay, now I can put out the campfire and go to bed. And I will get very cold. But I should equalize by the time I wake up, which will be noon. Classic survivalist techniques here in Outward. Okay, so I still have the cold, but the cold is improving. It's just taking a very long time to cure my common cold. It's not it's acute cold. The other one wasn't that attractive. Now we're going to go on a tear. We're really going to take it to these bandits, I think. Imagine just running around with just the most persistent, awful cold. Ugh. Hello. The game's audio doesn't even know that I'm in murder mode. Oh wow, a bird got in here, y'all. Yeah, I'm strong. Let's see if I can't find like a couple more arrows. I can also like collect wood and decraft a lot of these bandit, this bandit equipment into arrows. I know that my general strategy is not going to be using bow and arrow, but there is a cheese I can implement in this very fort, actually, that is highly effective. At least the last time I ran this game, which was on Windows. Who knows? Who knows? Perhaps the different operating system has completely changed the loot tables in the game, and it could also make this cheese ineffective. How many arrows do I have? I need a few more arrows. I love how the game's like still reminding me, you're coughing. I wonder, and somebody in the chat, Reapy Soul, you might know, does coughing de-stealth you or prevent you from, or like kind of make it easier for enemies to spot you? It seems like this is the kind of game where that could happen. Great. Collecting some wood. How many arrows is this now? It's quite a few. Did I run out of little metal shards? I think I did. That'll have to do. We'll see if that works. The Bandit's Prison. Let's see. Okay, and after this, we'll head on to Vendavel Fortress and kind of work through that. We should be sufficiently strong to handle Vendavel Fortress. Meat stew? Don't mind if I do. I even needed some meat stew. All right. So yeah, there's an ornate chest over here, but the bandit camp key is required. And there is a awful frosty demon creature right here. So I'm gonna drop this. Aggro this guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, I gotta equip this. And he clips through the gate. This is a real flashback to the Dark Souls 2 charity stream. This creature, like if you're inside the particle effects, you'll start getting like frostbite, I'm pretty sure. It's going to take quite a few. I love the idea of, you know, aside from it clipping through the door, just the, like, imagine this gate was not like a solid object. I love the idea of trying to kill this creature through the bars by just shooting arrows repeatedly through it. And it takes so many arrows, you literally get exhausted and you have to take a 5-minute break. You run out of arrows, you gotta like get a new quiver of arrows. You're like, oh my lord. This thing's just able to take so much punishment. Oh yeah, hold on, let me take a swig of water here, hold on. Oof. Exhausting. Well, I mean, it's not getting tired because I guess in the game's logic, it's not actually doing anything, right? Now it's doing something. Like, if you get close enough, it will, like, do a thing. Surely we're getting close here, right? Oof. I'm exhausted. All right, that's 30 arrows. I think I've missed like maybe one or two. There it goes. Let's hope that I don't like transport this creature into the nether realm by opening this door and it clipping through the world. Let's hope that doesn't happen, because I do need to loot it. Nope, just hangs there. Rip to a king. Ooh, brutal great mace. Definitely sending me overweight there. Oh, wow. Lots of really great stuff. Cannot move like that. Let's see how I can do this. So I can drop the bow, because I don't really need that, and I can drop these arrows. That's going to be one of the last times I use those. Would love to hang on to the Great Mace. Probably can drop the mining pick here. All right. Let's go fight these bandits. Not these bandits. Let's go fight those bandits. And when I say those bandits, I mean the one in the Vindevel fortress. So I did keep the Gabbery wine on me, but I actually don't think it'll be of any use, because I think in order to use it to neutralize one of the bandit chiefs, you actually have to like have the quest. And we're kind of going after Vindevel Fortress to preempt the quest, as it were. Basically, long story short, after you initiate one of the main quests in the game, you'll hear word that like, oh my gosh, Sierzo is kind of in grave danger. Because these bandits are going to attack it. You better take care of the bandits. And then a timer will start. And the timer actually will not expire as long as you are in the Chersonese, is my understanding. But if you're outside the Chersonese and enough days go by, the bandits will raise Sierzo. They will like destroy your hometown, which is no good. I also like the idea of bunches of bees of like you just throwing your back out when trying to lift too much. Extreme poison is something. Yeah. This is the depths of toxic gaming. Striking your enemies at a like terribly poisonous living halberd. And there's the Vendaval Fortress. Let's see. If I rest one more... Okay. Oh, yeah. That's right. There are some butterflies over here. Yeah. So I should be able to rest without any chance of being accosted. And maybe that'll be enough time for my cold to subside. Yeah, outwards, this is real video gaming type experiences. I think this is great. I think it's great to like look for butterflies with your bug-eyed halberd. Hello, welcome to the stream. Hey, Hendrik Shrug. Yes, purple grass. I love it. I love purple grass. I think you can avoid... I think if you're recovering from the cold, you shouldn't be able to get another cold. I think that it is like it's like filling up that slot so it won't let you get one, but... Okay, thankfully we did not get another cold. Sleeping through the night there with no fire. Yeah, it's much more Agronius. It's much more of a survival game with plus third-person action RPG stuff than it is third-person action RPG stuff plus survival game. Like, there's a lot of survival game here. Oh yeah, I did get rid of my mining pick, but it's okay. So I will say, I don't know how I'm supposed to interpret, like, Vendaval Fortress, but this just looks like a gate to me. So I'm going to go through this gate, and then I'm going to be, like, inside. So I imagine it's just my journey to the keep itself, like the fortress itself, is abstracted. Like, the game just assumes, oh, you go through the gate. No, I mean, the wall is interesting. Especially given, I think the wall is only as good as your personnel is, and I'm about to just... This isn't even locked. It's intimidating looking. I think that's what they're going for. They want you to know. Don't mess us. Don't mess with us. We have, like... We have brick masons and such.
Well now,
Oh, Croc's talking to me.
a lost traveler. We'll take good care of you.
I'm just passing by.
But we have everything you need inside. Come on.
I don't know. That's a nefarious invitation.
No, I think you're sick. You need to see our medic right away. I insist.
Oh, he's gonna send me to the medic, huh? There's Croc. Here's his buddies. Yeah, this horror halberd is something else. Lord. Loot Croc. Vindevel key, Vindevel prison key, and we'll pick up some life potions, why not? This is a little bit of a fortress of chumps, but I am also like, I'm super, you know, we've kind of golden passed our way to some like really powerful loot here. So that's kind of why we are where we are right now. I also like chugged a cool potion. I went Berserker Rage. So we got a lot of stuff working for us. I think it's this one. This is like southeast. If you pull any other ring, the floor opens up. You get sent to a cave. Recurve bow. Just a little too heavy. I'll drop the claymore. The recurve bow might actually... I know I was thinking about not using a bow and arrow, but it might be nice to just have as an option. Yeah, this is a little bit of a Balthazar / Tonk type playthrough right now at the moment. Who's next? Who's the next chump here? Oh, actually, let's move those to pocket. Yeah. And then we'll have a little emergency health potion here. This game would be neat to have. I mean, the pathfinding would be probably a disaster, but it would be cool to like hire a hireling basically in this game, like a more or less a completely disposable dude to, you know, somebody to come hang out with you, keep you company. A minion, yeah. Alchemy kit. Yeah, you do a lot of like rifling, and also you come to a point where your inventory is so full that you do have to start making some strategic decisions about what am I picking up and what am I not picking up, you know. So far I've been pleasantly surprised about the durability of the horror halberd. It's not as bad. I know that like a lot of weapons in its class are probably much more durable though. So these kind of gray chests, they don't have loot in them because these chests only exist to like store your stuff when you have defeat scenarios that like take your stuff away. So if you get defeated in Vindaville Fortress by Croc specifically, or if you are defeated by bandits around Vindaville Fortress, you'll be shoved into the mines, and you have to like kind of finagle your way out of the mines, and your stuff is here. Lydia. People talking about Skyrim. This guy makes Croc, I think, look pretty easy. Oh, and unfortunately, I think a lot of time bandits just take gold. Like they just get all of your very, very good stuff, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm sorry, DB Monster. I love how you can use a fire rag from your backpack while it is on the ground. That's pretty neat. You know, like you've already taken your backpack off and you're like, hold on, hold on. Now I just have to wait for the poison to get him. This is actually, the horror halberd made this a lot easier than last time. Last time I did like a big tripwire trap routine. I was Kevin McAllister and Rospa was the sticky bandits. It's a cool mask. You can get this armor set under the right circumstances by oh. I'm so over encumbered. I got to get a wall in between me and this person. Okay, drop this. I like all of Rospa's goons have these masks on, actually. I think that the lore justification for that is, I believe that Rospa and all of these kind of archers accompanying Rospa are Kazite, and I think that the kind of armor style in the masks might be kind of Kazite associated cultural stuff. Can I fit this in my bag? Barely. But luckily, we're almost clear here. I've almost made good on my promise, and we're 2 minutes away from 8, so we're really not going to be too much over schedule. We just got one more encounter to do here. Let's talk to Balira.
One of my warriors. You're from Cierzo.
She can tell.
What?
You're a trespasser. Yeah, her bodyguards are absolute chumps. Yeah. We did it. Well, I'd say that's pretty successful. That's a pretty successful session. We set out what we wanted to do. Our character is significantly stronger. We've got a weapon upgrade. We have plenty of loot to take back, haul back slowly to Sierra. So I might do that off stream, actually. It's going to be torturous. Or maybe not. Maybe that's just a part of the outward experience. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for the stream this evening. I'm going to, next stream at the end, I'm going to prepare like a spiel of like all the stuff that Range Touch does. But Too Much Future is going to be coming back relatively soon. I know, check out the other podcasts that Michael and Cameron do, which are, there's like 5 of them, but I'll do the ones I remember: Just King Things, Homestuck Made This World, Game Studies, Study Buddies. Those are really good. There might be some Mages and Murder Dads in the future, but I know that we're not going to be in a situation where Cameron is simultaneously playing like Too Much Future and another game. So stay tuned for that. We might have some other announcements on that moving forward, but I think that is going to be the stream. I hope everybody has a nice Friday tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us. Ciao.